and talk about this one. So today's webinar is landing pages that convert, is sort of where we've landed. But basically, what we wanted to do today was kind of show you the importance of landing pages. And first thing you might be asking is, what is a landing page? So kind of talking a bit about that. I think that it's just a phrase, really. You could call it just a page on your website. But we want to, I want to kind of get across how important that can be to be able to get more visitors to your website or to the website that you're working on. And then for those pages to help convert those people. And some of this will branch into some other webinars we've done, but really want to kind of focus and get that thinking at your end about what pages do I need to create? How do I do those? Let's do this quickly and effectively, and let's get some results. So as always, you would have registered for this on the customer webinars page. Check it out for recordings and also for new webinars, and keep an eye out for those newsletters where we post those as well. And any feedback, as always, please let me know in the chat, or there is a survey at the end of the webinar, and we definitely look through those, and they do help us to shape what we do webinars on or how we do content as well. We're also looking at doing a bit more on-demand content, shorter format as well, because I know sometimes these can be a bit longer, and to find the time can be tricky. So let's get started. I'll just share my screen. It won't be a moment. And why do landing pages, or why do pages on your website matter? So let's go back to that point around what is a landing page or landing pages. Sometimes they're referred to as landing pages because there's somewhere that you land on, or when you do a search in, say, Google, or you're recommended a website, it doesn't have to always be your homepage. And so to land on a page and it's not your homepage, it doesn't have a journey to get there. It's usually that you're going directly to that page. And so we're thinking about these landing pages as pages that don't have that journey, and that people can find specifically about the content and information that's on that page. Why it's so important is that it helps the likes of Google. We're talking about SEO here for Google, but we're also talking about, and there's lots of terms, I think everyone's still trying to land on one, but I'm saying AEO at the moment, so answer engine optimization. How do we get the AI bots, and how do we get Google to recommend our site? And what landing pages do is allow you to have rank for specific searches. So the example I've got today is a construction business, but it could be any business, and it's saying, well, actually, if somebody's specifically searching for Park Street construction in this case, and they're searching for something that's really key on our page, then great, will probably appear there. But we're so much more than that. We have services, we cover different areas, we've done lots of different projects. And so we want people that are searching for different things to still be able to find us as well. And therefore, having that extra content and those extra pages is going to really help. It also helps the AI engines because they've got extra content to look at. And I'm going to show you a bit of an example, hopefully, that I've tried to work on, in case it's interesting to you guys as well. So I kind of wanted to, so answer engine optimization or the bots and so on, they're looking for content. They're specifically looking for things like Q&As or frequently asked questions, and content that they can use to formulate a response. Otherwise, how does it come up with those responses? And so having things like FAQs and questions and answers are going to be really helpful for AI. But also it helps with SEO, because quite often people are searching in Google for a solution or an answer to a problem. So they're not just saying building renovations in all cases, or a new build or a construction company. They're saying, I need to build a house. What should I do? And you'll probably notice now when you Google something, you'll see there's an AI response at the start too. So again, that's looking for that rich content to use so I can formulate a good response, and then it will have that link through to the websites and where it's getting that information as well. So I thought I'd have a quick look at a couple of things, and I'll use the kind of construction industry as well. So first and foremost, I did a Google search here of Hamilton bathroom renovations, and just to kind of get us in theme for things. So we can see that we've got some sponsored results at the beginning, which I think generally people kind of skip past in some cases, but it does help when you're using digital advertising to reaffirm things. So that you can be like, oh, I've seen this, you are plumber, kind of skip through that. If I see it again, then maybe I would click on it. But as we get down here, we can see some results. And by hovering over these results in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see, and I'm just going to bring this up here. So it's going to be a bit odd, but when I hover over it in pink down the bottom corner, it'll be very small for you to see. There is the link. So that's going straight to a homepage of that site. This one's doing the same. But as I go down, I can see that this one is actually going to /kitchens-bathrooms. And so this is taking us to a specific landing page with that rich content on it. And so Richard Hull Builders, for instance, may be a building company, but because they've specified kitchen and bathroom renovations, I'm now getting that as a return result where maybe I wouldn't before because the homepage might have been too generic. So Google's saying that's not specific enough to this search query. And these other ones look to be, there's another one with /bathroom renovations Hamilton. So really good use of a landing page there. It's specific to a location and to a theme or a service. So that's just to give you a bit of an example. There's another one /bathroom. So that's a different page. And so you can kind of see what's coming up. And it's also important to note that, why landing pages matter is that it's not always just your homepage that's being found, and we need to give it that rich content. So hopefully that kind of makes sense and gives you a bit of an understanding about why you should be creating landing pages for your site. The other thing that I had a look at, and I'm just going to show you here, was using AI. So I don't know if anyone's had much use with this, but actually I'm going to use a slightly different example first off. So I did a very simple search that said, I'm looking at doing some home renovations and looking for a builder to do the work. I am based in Hamilton, New Zealand. And so it's given me some what to look for in a builder and some generic stuff, but then it's actually gone into providing me recommendations for these builders. And so here we have a few local builders and renovation firms you might contact. And so this information is coming from doing searches. So this has got us a link to these websites. Now, if we don't have good content on a site and the pages that are going to specifically help with the searches that we're putting in, this was quite general, being building, what did I say? Home renovations. But if I got more specific, then those specific pages are going to help the AI and the chatbots and so on to be able to find those solutions for us. So really important to keep that. I'm just going to see if this has, this doesn't show us the thinking, but I'm going to show you the next one, which does. The other thing I did was a agent search. So I don't know if anyone's used agent in their tools before, but I'm using a paid version and you have the agent here. And so I asked that I was looking for bathroom renovations. I gave a few more specifics because the agent will start asking questions. And it asked, for instance, what, do you have specific companies in mind and so on? And I was like, no, I just wanted something affordable, not too high end, but it is a family home. Just to show you what it's doing at that point is that this is what the agent's doing. It is actually going out and searching websites, and you can actually watch it. And I'll just see if it updates here. Otherwise, I'll go back a little bit. Actually, I will. Hopefully this comes together. So this is it doing a reading mode of a website because it was struggling to navigate the website, and it's given us a commentary as it goes. But what it actually did is it went and performed all of those searches in front of me. And so I could, and it's a bit of a shame because there are a lot of examples when you're watching this live where it's actually navigating through the website, and you can see it clicking, which is quite cool. And the next example might show that. But once it completed all of those searches, which actually took, I think it was roughly, so it went through 4 searches and 39 resources, so 39 different websites. Then it provided me this full breakdown. And again, why it's important, we need to have this content and these landing pages so that the AI can search through those and come up with the best results. And it's now giving me phone numbers and email addresses and even budget recommendations for that. So the AI needs those landing pages. It needs that information to be able to recommend stuff for you. The The other one I did as a quick one was I did it for a florist. And this one hopefully will show a bit better. So I said, I'm looking to do a bouquet of flowers. This one actually took a lot longer, but here we go. Here's an example of, and it's actually not showing the images, but which is a bit of a shame. But basically it's going through all of the websites, and you can, again, it's not showing these images now, which is a shame, but it's going through all the websites. And so it's searching for landing pages. It's looking for that information. It's looking for, do you provide this service? Do you do same day delivery? All of that information to do it. So hopefully that explains it. I'll kind of move forward now, but landing pages do matter. It matters for people finding you. And that's what this is about. We want people to find your website or the website that you're working on for your customer. We want them to be able to find it more easily so you can get more traffic, which then leads to more inquiries, sales, phone calls, whatever it is that your call to action is. So how do we come up with ideas, or what should these landing pages be about? So I think I like to always start here with, what is your potential customers' questions? What are they looking for? As I mentioned earlier, if somebody's asking to find Park Street construction, or is very specific to exactly what you have on your homepage or what you're about, whether it's names and so on, then you've probably got a good chance of showing up. But that depends on what Google believes your site, how it ranks. And so to improve that ability, we can use those landing pages to answer specific questions, or to make us more in line with the person that's searching. I like to always remind you that Google is working on behalf of the searcher, not you as the business. So they will only want to provide the best possible results to the searcher, because otherwise people will stop using Google. So the results need to be robust, and they need to have good content, and it needs to match what this person's search is about. So if we can think about that for a little bit, then we can break out into what types of pages we can get. So some obvious ones would be services. So creating a services page. So think about what you might have on your homepage, for instance, and you might say, oh, yes, we provide this different service. We do home renovations, we do new builds, and so, or we might even do building inspections. So all of those services can become landing pages. And you might have a generic services page, or you might use this as a drop down to show all of the service pages for people to click through to. I would recommend making sure you have all of these, but you can also go a bit further, and these don't have to be in your menu, but you could make new builds in a specific location, because Google does look at the person that's searching's location and tries to provide them recommendations within their local search. And so we want to make landing pages that also help to tell people where we are. So for instance, Park Street construction may be based in Hamilton, for instance, and I'm not sure if it's actually in any of our copy, but let's say it's based in Hamilton, and you've got your homepage saying Hamilton based, service in the Waikato, and so on and so forth. That's, there we go, so Hamilton Building Company. So that's all positive, but if somebody's searching from one of the regions or smaller like satellite towns, like let's say Cambridge or Te Awamutu or Morrinsville, how would it recommend you? And if you don't have those place names on your site and you're not an authority on that, then it's probably not, or it's going to push your search result down. So being able to create a landing page that says new builds or Morrinsville new builds, and then having content in this on that page that references Morrinsville and that you do work there. It could be good to have a project you've done in Morrinsville, or some imagery of you in Morrinsville doing what you do, or a testimonial from a customer in Morrinsville, to make it authentic, because Google also wants it to be genuine. Then add those pages, and all of a sudden when somebody's in Morrinsville searching for new builds or a building company, then Google's going to say, well, actually, this is a great result because they build new homes and they've got all this information, but also they build new homes in Morrinsville. That's a key thing for them. So I'm actually going to say, let's recommend this site to people. So a few ideas there. services, locations, even having a page of frequently asked questions can be quite good. There's a FAQ there. So having that, so then even the likes of the AI generative text tools, they can look at that and go, oh, I'll go straight to the FAQs page. There on that page, there can be lots of questions that people might be searching in Google or AI, and then you've now got some of those answers. So that can be good. Niche topics, even seasonal offerings. So around this upcoming season can be really good, because then it feels to Google like you are in tune and it's fresh content. The other thing I like to talk about is what somebody might use your service for or your product for. So let's say you've got a particular product and you're thinking, well, okay, this is my product. It's and that's simple. This is what it does. Let's talk about that. But actually, who is going to buy the product and why are they going to buy it? So for instance, if it could be a gift for a loved one or a parent maybe, or a Father's Day gift or something, then why not create a page about that? Why not say the ultimate Father's Day gift? Thinking about what to buy your dad for Father's Day. Why not one of these? Here's why it's great for the dad in your life, and so on. And all of a sudden, when somebody's doing that, we've all done it probably, that search that says, Father's Day gift, and, a couple of days out or something, then all of a sudden there's some really unique direct content that fits with that search. So what else could it be? Like if somebody's looking at, building a new house, why? What are the catalysts? Or are they looking for a house and land package? Do we need to have that content on our site so that they can find us? Projects, case studies are good. Case studies help you to have quotes from customers or information about your product or service in more detail. And then that all links together. So yes, the page might have it, but Google's looking at that page plus all your other pages and going, actually, this is a complete recommendation. I'm going to take them to this landing page. But the reason I'm willing to recommend that is because of this whole website and all of its content. So yeah, for instance, if I mentioned it before, but if I was a Waikato business, I'd be looking for those pages for Cambridge, Te Awamutu, Morrinsville, Matamata, all of those areas. Cool, good question. Thank you. I appreciate questions. I want them to come through. Would landing pages rank better than blog articles? In some cases, blog articles rank better. Generally speaking, we find landing pages can be good. And it gives you a way to add more calls to action naturally. And, it can be a bit more appealing when somebody arrives there. But actually, blog articles are super powerful. We quite often find on the Rocketspark website that sometimes our blog articles are getting more views than most of our key pages because they're answering those specific questions. We did a webinar on blogging for success as well. So if you wanted to check that out on the customers webinars page, I think it's up there and live now as well. I've got it here so we can actually have a look. Yeah, boost your website visibility with blogging. So that can be a really good choice too, but I think that landing pages have a really important place too. Each of the items in the menu considered landing pages? Yes and no. Like these are pages that you're navigating to and there's a journey, whereas a landing page doesn't have to be there. So for instance, if I was Park Street Construction and I was based in Hamilton but servicing the greater Waikato region, I might go to my managed pages area and create a page for new builds Morrinsville, and that's going to sit outside of my menu, so below this line, and I don't necessarily need to link to this page. It can be just standalone by itself as an entry point into my website from the likes of Google and to help that. But you might do things like you might have a landing page that's new builds in general that is part of let's say your services page. So let's add our new builds to our services page. Just turn these online. So we might say, okay, we've got our services, our new builds is a page under there, and that's going to outline the process for new builds, what we do, why we're the best choice, et cetera, et cetera. But then we can have this new builds Morrinsville separately. And you could even link to that from the new builds page if you want, but it doesn't really matter. It's about saying, well, we do new builds and we're based in Hamilton and the Waikato region, but actually we're going to have another page that Google can reference and say, actually, we do new builds in the Morrinsville area as well. All right, another question here. Yeah, is using incognito the best way to search if testing the ranking of the landing page you have created, or is there a better way? 100%. I would be searching every time you're looking at your own business or even competitors. I would be using an incognito browser. And so you can simply do that. I'm using Google Chrome, but you can click on the three dots and go new incognito window. The reason you want to do this and why it's a great question is that if you are searching in your own Google page too much, then it's remembering what you're doing. So if you clicked on yourself, it's going to say, well, you like that website, I might refer that higher than normal. And so I've seen a bunch of customers before that say, I'm ranking really well, I can see myself really early on, but actually if they go into an incognito browser and it takes away some of that knowledge or understanding of who you are or your history, then the results change quite dramatically. And that's closer to what a customer or a future customer would be seeing. Cool. So do we put in the URL of the page or the website into the landing page's details? I'm not sure if I get this 100%, but basically when we make a landing page, and let's say, for instance, we're talking about this new builds Morrinsville, that will actually have its own URL. So that's got new builds Morrinsville, and you don't need to do anything else with that. You would create the content and do it. And then when somebody's doing a Google search, that URL might be the one that's referenced to them and mean that you get shown earlier on in Google more than your homepage because it's more specific to the search of that person. So hopefully that answers the URL question, but please ask or outline that a bit more if I can explain that a bit better. All right, so that, creating those landing pages, it might seem a little bit odd, but the one thing I want you to leave with today as well is that you are the expert in these fields. Trust yourself, trust your knowledge, trust your ability to create this content. But we're going to have a look now about creating the landing pages. I'm going to show you a couple of things just with Flint and so on that you may not be aware of so that you can create landing pages quickly. They'll still need some work, but it's a great starting point instead of something that I like to kind of call blank page syndrome. So for instance, if we go to our new builds page, we've just got a blank page and it feels like, oh my gosh, how do I start and what do I do? So the first thing, here we go. Cool. So the question is, you probably see it there. Struggling is, if you create a landing page, but it is not part of the menu at the top, will it be on your website or just referenced by Google? It's absolutely on your website, but it's not part of your main menu. It might be, let's have a look at this, for instance. If we go to the Rocketspark website, our main menu is at the top here. And we can see that we've got websites and we've got a few details about websites, domains, emails, support, design for clients, login, and get started. So that's our main menu and that's it. So that makes up the homepage plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages that we're referencing as key. And in our menu, it's sticky header, so it's always there. We think those are the key elements that when somebody's on our homepage or on one of these pages, this is where they will probably want to navigate to. But to show you a bit of an example, these are all pages here that we also think are important. So we've got these in our footer, but the Rocketspark website consists of hundreds of pages. And as an example, for instance, there's nothing in here about this, but if I do, and I know that the Google search will show us because I've done this before, but if I put web design, I think Meta maybe. Yeah, so web design Meta. We've got a landing page for Meta web design. And this is specifically to help encourage when somebody's searching in that region to find us and to see content specifically about Meta web design with our partner network to get websites built. And it's got some of our key selling points and bits and pieces. It's got a quote from somebody in that region and some frequently asked questions, because we know that's good also for AI and so on. So that's all there, and that comes up because of that. But that is nowhere to be found in this menu or in this top menu here as well. So hopefully that kind of explains it. It's just more content. And you might link through, like you might, for instance, if you're like, get started and I want it designed for me, which is kind of about like that web design, there could be a link on this page that takes them to like a regional based page. But actually, we probably don't need it. But if somebody's doing that Google search and they're saying, I'd like a web designer, and if they're based in Matamata, then we've got a far higher chance of coming up than if we didn't have that page. Please keep asking the questions. I think it's super helpful, and I'm sure others are finding that helpful as well. Maybe when I respond to a question, if you could do some reactions so that that person knows and others will be encouraged, that would be great. All right, so I wanted to show you a little bit with Flint, just in case you haven't gone through this. So in the lightning bolt in the top corner in the cog, this has got your tone of voice information. If you haven't looked at this in a while, or you don't even know about that and it's not set up, definitely go and set it up if you have access to it. If you have a website that's live already, you will need to be on one of the pro plans, so Website Builder Pro or E-commerce Grower Pro. But I just want to show you it briefly, just in case you're not on that, so you can see that value. So I've got the tone of voice here. I've really kind of leaned into this. This is all about feeling. So we're not just about building houses, we're about creating homes where life happens. We bring confidence, not arrogance. Our standard is high because we take immense pride in our craft. So those words like pride, craft, confident and genuine, upfront, proud, and honest. So we're using all those sort of feeling words to help get people, help the AI to write in that way for us. Approachable, work is no joke, etc., etc. We don't just build structures, we build backdrops for your life. Our words should make people imagine Sunday mornings in their kitchens, kids running down the hallway, friends laughing in the living room. So that real sense of what a home means to people in this case. And once you've sort of got that there, then actually we've got this landing page we've created, and we can now say auto write. And what this is going to do is it's going to make an AI prompt for us. And it says this page showcases new buildings, because it knows the page name, new building projects by Park Street in the Waikato region, featuring high quality construction and design tailoring to meet the client's needs, etc., etc. You can edit and change this. So I might say this page showcases our offering of new builds in the Waikato region, because I don't think it's about our projects necessarily. We've got a different page for that, featuring high. And then I might say, I want the page to outline the process of a new build and answer questions and alleviate concerns and fears a new home buyer might have. So you can adjust this, you can change it to whatever you want. It's up to you. So I've put that in there. I've made some adjustments to it because I don't think it was quite there. And then you can go create content. And so what's happening now is it's actually going back to that tone of voice that I've created. It looks at the industry that we're part of. It understands when we started, the region we work in, and all of that information. It's then looking at, sort of best practices. It's looking at some SEO content. It has all of our information in there around what the best sort of copy type is, the reading age for website text, and all of that sort of stuff. And then it's going to create a very basic layout for you to start with, and it's going to fill this with the content that we've requested on there. So if we think about, okay, landing pages, I want to create some. You've probably got a list you've started writing about, oh, I could have a landing page for these regions. I could have it for all of these services. I'm going to have it that answers these questions or promotes this. How the heck am I going to make all of these? And so this is now going to help where you can say, okay, I'm going to create this landing page. You can see it's done a layout where there's different column options. It's put in placeholders for images that you can add. And now it's going through the process of doing that. So it might be a little bit hard to say, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's building this out. It's definitely in theme with what I've asked. It's in my tone of voice. Park Street Promise, I like that. Experience, perfect blend of expertise, creativity. Yeah, nice. And so that's created a page for us, and that's a great starting point. Obviously, you now want to have a look at, the content, what imagery you might want to provide. You may say, I want to break this up by changing the background color of, one or two of these stacks of content, and that comes down to some design stuff, obviously. What's important here is that we are covering off and answering those questions, but also to make it convert. So let's say somebody has now landed on this page. We need the journey for them. So our header is really important. I've got the sticky header on, and it's got get in touch. That's my call to action. I want people to get in touch with us. That's what I want them to do. So it's always there, always prominent. As we go through here, we've got things like view projects that it's suggested, but again, contact us. It's got us, explaining some of the process, and now it's saying, let's have a look at some of the frequently asked questions. This is probably not laid out that well, but we go through and hopefully, get started, probably going to take us through to, get in touch, fill out a form, and then our story. So what's really important here when you're doing these pages is that sort of structure. So we want the page to answer a question, solve a problem, outline a specific service or location, whatever that might be. Then what we want is sort of proof of that. So within the copy that we're writing, what is the proof that this is right? Because Google it can't sort of be fooled in that way. It needs to know that you genuinely have a place to be on this content. Yeah, I'm just having a quick look at these questions so I don't lose track of them. Do we do SEO for the landing pages too? 100%. And I'll just show it really quickly. But once you've created a landing page, especially if you've done it with Flint, it will actually do, if we go to our Get Found SEO, it will actually create a title tag and a description for you that you can then come through and adjust as you need. Really important though, it's a really good question. Really important that you're doing that. Because if we go back to our Google search, why would I click on one of these above the other? It's going to be based on what's written here, and that's that title tag and description. Again, under the customer webinars page, there is a SEO basics webinar recording. So check that out. That will help you a lot around SEO title tags, what to write. I can't even see where it is. SEO basics, there it is. So right there on that page. Yeah, absolutely. So Flint Writer is available for anyone on a trial. So if you're currently in a trial state or you're building a website for yourself or a customer, you have full access to the Flint Writer to build out pages, to create blogs, and to fill out that content. Once you upgrade, then it's a higher tiered plan to continue using that. You obviously get a few other things too, like an advanced dashboard for looking at your analytics and how many form submissions and phone calls and things like that you're getting. You also get advanced forms, so you can have more like file uploads and headings and date pickers and so on in your forms, plus the inbox for your forms as well. So there's a bunch of tools there that come with those pro plans. So we talked a bit about that structure, making sure there's the call to action and making sure this content is meaningful, that there's proof of what you're doing there as well. And that can be in the imagery too, getting somebody that comes in and goes, yes, this is what I want. I want this type of build. I want this type of product or service. I can see myself working with this person. It could be a picture of a person consulting with somebody else. Okay, so yes, so that's why you don't enter a URL. There's no SEO available if a URL is entered in a page setup. That's where I went wrong. I'm just trying to think about that one. Don't enter a URL. There's no SEO available. So every single web page you have, kind of where we were showing, regardless if it's in your header menu or not, you can create your title tag and description and your on-page SEO. So the content on your page is, helping SEO. And so every single page, whether it's in a menu or not, is available for Google to crawl and search and index and form part of your whole website indexing and ranking. We talked about calls to action, really important. I'm talking about that again. And also things like trust is quite important when all pages. So think about things like client quotes or testimonials and things like that as well. If you aren't using Flint or you're doing your own thing, the same things apply. What is the page going to be about? Have I got the right content? If you make a page that says new builds and you just say, we do new builds, contact us for a new builds inquiry, that's not going to be enough. It needs to really talk to a person that's searching. And so it needs the content to say, you know, Waikato, so it knows the region, you know, craft your future. But maybe not the best sort of heading for the page from an SEO perspective. You probably want something like that says new builds and, you know, Waikato new builds or something that's really punchy. So again, probably watching that webinar on SEO basics if you're not confident with that would be good. Do we have to fill out the Get Found SEO on each page with a title tag and keywords, etc.? If we've already done SEO through Flint. If SEO through Flint has been done, then it's still on a page basis. So if you've done your homepage with Flint, that's fine, but you need to come through and do the projects page. You need to do the about page. So whether you're using Flint or doing it straight here on the page, on the Get Found page, you need it done for every page specifically because it's unique to those pages. If somebody gets served up our projects page on a Google search and it then talks about something different to that, that could mean they don't click on you. So you want this title and this description to be encouraging for the reason somebody would have found your page to click on your page. So, you know, if somebody's looking for projects or looking for work that builders have done in this case, then you probably want this to be Explore Hamilton Building Projects and Craftsmanship is probably a pretty good choice. Hamilton Building Projects, it might be Waikato Building Projects if you want to be a bit broader, but this is important to make people click on your page. Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the SEO, and this is getting a refresh over the next couple of weeks, but when you're doing this says town or city. You can absolutely change this to a region or even do that as New Zealand. You could put nationwide or countrywide or something like that in there. It's still us saying that this business services this area or services nationwide or services New Zealand. So absolutely, this is getting the update of this actually has, you can put in your city or town that you work in, but then it has a new field that says the area you service, and it then says the city or town, the wider region, or nationwide as well. So that's going to be a big improvement. Cool. We've shown you that sort of full page writer, but also just to remember that once you've done the full page writing, you also have that Flint option here. So you can prompt to change things, or you can edit straight in the page. Quite important, you can actually click into this area and just auto write, and it's going to rewrite it. If you're just not that comfortable with it and you want another version of the same thing, then it will rewrite that for you and you can go back and so on. Or you can actually just prompt it. So you can say, can you please write this in a different tone or in a different way? I'd like to incorporate something else about our business in here and so on. So you can do all of that prompting. And you can, it is important to note that it also is really intuitive to the context of the page. So for instance, if I created a new text block here and said auto write, I have no idea what this is going to bring up, but it's reading the page above, sorry, the content above, below, and it knows the page we're on. Crafting your dream home with precision. Maybe that's right, but maybe what we want to do is book a meeting as our first call to action. Then our second thing that we want to do is meet on site. I'm not sure, but so now when we do things like that, it'll be interesting to see what it comes up with by itself. But this is just to show you that you know, leaning into this is important. So what it's understood here is that we've got the different ways that we can meet. So booking a meeting on site, virtual consultations. And then as you go further into the body of the text, we can say auto write, and then it's going to read this heading and then talk about that. So booking a meeting with Park Street is your next step towards making your dream home a reality. If we did the virtual consultations one, it'll talk about that specifically. So just what I would say is just lean into this. And once you've got your tone of voice right, it's going to speak so well. So virtual consultations offer a seamless way to engage with us at Park Street without constraints of a geography. So lots that you can do there to create your landing pages easily. And one thing I would say is make a plan. So depending on your resource or how much time you might have, which I know is not a lot, I would be saying each month I'm going to do this. I'm going to create one landing page a month and maybe one blog a month, which again, I haven't gone into blogs too much today, but they work really similar to landing pages and both are really important. So it might be, I'm going to create one landing page a month and one blog a month. And then that way you've got a bit of a target and a bit of a goal to create it. And each time that happens, you're creating more reference points for Google. Did you say you can ask Flint to use a specific tone in the text suggestion box? Kind of. So, but not perfectly. So this tone of voice that's been here, that's cemented in your website, will always be used. So whenever you generate text or ask it to update something, it is going to use that tone of voice. But you can absolutely tell it what you want it to do. So if we want a body of text here and we're saying, I want to share that we are 2025 new home build of the year winners for New Zealand master builders, for instance. So that's referencing something specific. So that's saying that I want to talk about how we won an award. You might say, well, that might be it. It's still going to use your tone of voice to get this across, and it's still going to understand your business and everything about you. So we're delighted to announce that the Park Street has been named the 2025 new home build of the year winners by the New Zealand Master Builders. This accolade is a testament to our commitment to excellence. So it's still writing in the tone of voice we want, but it's using the theme of what we've asked it to. So it's in line with that and in line in context on the page. So hopefully that kind of helps, but the tone needs to be about the feeling and what it means to be in business with you, or what it's like to hear from you or talk with you, and use analogies and things. So it's got a real tone. And then when you're prompting, you're giving it specifics about what you want it to talk about, and it's going to overlay that tone for you. So you're not having to, if you've used sort of AI tools, if I'd put that prompt in, I'd have to finesse that prompt a lot to get it to return something that's website worthy. Whereas here it's done that sort of first go really well. Yeah, I've had a question here. Can I get a recording, please? I'm struggling to remember it all. I'm so sorry. That is absolutely my fault. I feel so excited to share some of this, and I think it's so valuable that I do try and cram it in. And obviously we're coming to the end of the webinar now, but there will absolutely be a recording. We'll send out an email to everyone that's attended so they can rewatch it, also to people that haven't attended. So keep an eye out for that email over the next few days. Keep the questions coming. I know that we've kind of come to the time. I'm just checking my notes to see what else I wanted to cover. Oh, yeah, the other thing I wanted to just sort of mention is tracking. So all good and well that I'm telling you that landing pages will help and blogs and adding content and stuff will help your site, but you need to actually make sure it is. So if you're creating a landing page each month, or you're going to add a whole bunch of landing pages over the course of the next few weeks, is it going to work? And if you're building a website for somebody, is there sort of proof that this is working? And so I would definitely recommend getting set up with Google Analytics and then linking that to your dashboard. This dashboard is on the Website Builder Pro or E-commerce Grow and Pro plan view. So I get extra information in here. But on the Website Builder base plan, you do get to see your sessions over a 1 month period, I believe. So that's there. But when you're on one of the higher plans, you do get to see things like how many form submissions you're receiving, and it will show you the shift from the previous period. Also, the number of mobile calls you're getting from your website. along with things like SEO. So this is saying that these have been done manually, and so that's good, but I've got some pages that haven't been done, so I need to go and check those out, and some different tasks which kind of build out. But the great thing here is that I can actually go through and say, I want to see the number of sessions, so how many times people are coming to my websites. And then I want to also see the number of forms received as a correlation. Not a great example in this dummy setup, but that's there. I can also add in a compare to previous period. So if I'm looking at month on month, that can be really helpful to see whether it's improving and things are working. And one thing I really love when we're talking about landing pages is to come through and say, is this landing page getting visits? So if I've created a new builds landing page, this is not going to have anything, except I must have looked at it. Actually, I did have the new builds page before as well. So when we look at that, we can see that the previous period, there were lots of views, and now there's not, because again, this is a test site. But you want to be able to prove that so that you can say, yes, I can see this working. I can't believe that I created this landing page and actually people are coming into that page, even though there's no menu item for it. I need to do more of these, or actually this landing page is working, but this one isn't. What's different about those? Maybe I should lean into this one a little bit more. So I think making sure you're connected and that you can see this information can be really important too, so that you can prove that your work's right. Always good, I think, to if you're only a New Zealand-based business, to filter this by New Zealand or Australia or whatever country it might be, if you're not worldwide, because sometimes you'll get a whole lot of search results or visits from other countries just because of how Google might work or what might be referencing. So that can be quite good to go, well, I'm actually only interested in the traffic coming from my particular country. I'd like to see how that goes. Cool. So that, I know I've kind of gone over a couple of minutes. There's another question here. I'm not using the domain emails. Is this a bad thing with Google ratings? I'm assuming that you're meaning that you're not using like a business email. So you might be using a Carlos at gmail.com instead of a Carlos at Rocketspark.com. And it's probably more important for like somebody trusts in your business. So we believe that, and we see it, that if you've got a business email, when you're sending emails or when somebody's seen an email on your website, it makes it more trustworthy, and they're going to engage with that more and see it as more valid than, say, a Gmail or a Hotmail or something address. So I don't think it's necessarily huge from a Google ratings. I don't think they're looking at that email address, but they are looking at your domain. So, your domain name can be important as well, but I don't necessarily think with the emails. But if you're thinking that you've got like a business listing, and it's probably not a great, but we've got business listings here. I don't think any of these have an email on them. And I don't think you can actually add that. But if they did, having a Gmail isn't going to be as authentic as having your business email address. So we definitely recommend that if you think you're sending out invoices or quotes and things like that, coming from a business email definitely provides validity. So we'd definitely recommend that. So as a kind of a wrap up, landing pages equals visibility, and then those pages can then create conversions. So it's important that you know what your call to action is. What do you want them to do? Is it fill in a form, phone you, purchase something? Whatever it might be, make sure that's clear and make sure you're guiding people to that. Having that visibility and people being able to find you is so important, and you've got to create multiple channels for that. And again, with the call to action, have multiple. Give them the option to use a form, send you an email, call you, whatever it might, make that easy for them to do it in the way that they want to do it. As I was kind of trying to show you with the AI agents and AI bots and so on, they are going through your website, and literally the AI agent, it shows you a picture and it's got a mouse and it's clicking through those landing pages to find the content, to find whether they are the best result to give somebody. And so, that's really important to know. Flint I know that it's a higher plan model, but Flint will help you to create this content faster. And it's really good. I know that it's never going to replace a true copywriter, but depending where you're at, it can really help. And even if you are a copywriter or somebody good at writing, if you can get your tone of voice right and it can deliver stuff that's pretty, like really close, and then you can finesse it, think of how many more pages you can create or how much more content you can create on your site. And that's just giving you speed and more time to do other things that you probably want to do. I'm really conscious that building a website, unless you're a website designer and building websites, is not something you actually want to be doing all the time. You want to be working in your business. But even if you are a website designer or builder, writing copy or being able to have copy that you can add there, especially if you're waiting for a customer to provide content, to actually put this in here and see that it's actually really close and works. Yeah, good. So I'm just reading some of these comments through here as well. Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Thanks for helping. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it, guys. If there's any feedback about these, there's a little survey at the end, or send it through to our support team. Let them know what you're finding, what works and what's not working, and what you want to know, because I want to help with that.